All right, let's talk Moodle. So you found your way to Moodle because you found your way here. And that's one of the things that's really great actually about the way we do orientation when it's virtual is that we know that you have at least engaged with engaged with Moodle ahead of time. So when you log into Moodle, it looks something mostly like this. On the left-hand side, so this is your dashboard. On the left-hand side, there will always be a link to your dashboard. It won't always be at the top, but you can find that you can always get here by clicking the dashboard link. In the center, these are your classes. These are set up in the card view, but you can have them organized in like a summary list or maybe it's called details, something like that. So you can set that up however you like. You can also find your classes over here on the right-hand side. Yours will not be quite so crazy looking because you will have been here a shorter period of time. I want to draw your attention to the section that says GCC Community, which is where you found orientation today. When you go into a class, it's going to look something like this. All right, here's something that's really important to know. Each of your instructors is going to set up their Moodle site differently than your other instructors. Everyone has their own way that they like to organize things. So one of the things you want to do is for your classes that have their Moodle sites available ahead of time, and not all classes do, but they will be available the first day of classes. You want to go to that Moodle site and check it out and just to kind of familiarize yourself with how that instructor has laid things out. At the top, you usually will find some basic stuff, like a quick way to get the class announcements, a copy of the syllabus. If there's a Zoom link for either the class or office hours or something like that, you'll find that there, and other general course information. Below that are the topics, and different instructors will do different things with the topics. So pre-pandemic, in the before times, my class was actually set up thematically. So all the readings were in one place, all the class handouts were in another place, all the homework was in a different place. And that worked really well for me. And then things went sideways. And I was like, yeah, I think now that everything's remote, I'm going to do stuff on a weekly basis because that will make things, I think that will make it clearer for everyone. So you really want to make sure you know how your instructor has set up their Moodle page. If you're feeling a little nervous about this, I'm going to say a really great thing that you can do, and it's something I actually require my students to do, is set up an appointment with a peer tutor. And you can do that now. Peer tutors are working now. They work through the summer. They work during the semester. Just to go over each of your Moodle sites and make sure you understand what's there. And then also while you're meeting with the tutor, I would go over any syllabi that you have just to make sure you understand how that instructor has set up their syllabus, because that's another thing that instructors do differently from each other. They set up the syllabus in a way that works best for them. So just know that you don't need to kind of suss this all out on your own. You absolutely can, reach out to folks to get some help with that. And peer tutors are an awesome resource for that. All right, one of the things I wanted to draw your attention to is these two resource menus that are always available on Moodle, whether you're on the class screen, if you're on the dashboard. One is the GCC links, and the other is the student support links. If you click on the GCC links, these are the things that are there. And the two things I really want to draw your attention to at the moment is this remote and online learning for students option and this Moodle users for 21-22 option. If you go to the remote and online learning for students, and this, I am giving you all homework, and that homework is go to the remote and online learning for students page through the GCC links and watch this Moodle tour. It's all of maybe 8 minutes. You have 8 minutes. And then there's some practice that you can do. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you what I am talking about. So wait, I got to move these Zoom controls out of my way. All right, so here we are in Moodle, and on the GCC links, I'm going to click on this remote and online learning for students. If you scroll down, so it might look like this for you. Everything might be compacted, just click the arrow, and then you get the same information. what I really want to draw your attention to, you obviously can look at all of these other things, but I want to talk about using Moodle. There's this helpful little tour, as I mentioned, and this is what it covers, all of these things, which you're going to want to know. But the other thing it does is it gives you an opportunity to practice posting, practice submitting an assignment, and to practice taking a quiz. And those are all things that you're going to want to know. The other thing, what are other things I wanted to show you? I wanted to talk to you about again, under GCC links. So that's what you should do before classes start. You can look at the Moodle users for 21, 22 before classes, or maybe you want to like get a little bit more of the lay of the land and then look at it, that's fine. But what I just showed you in the remote and online learning for students is a good intro. So you'll see that this gets updated every year. So this is updated for this year. And there's a couple things in here I want to draw your attention to. First of all, know that there's more than just information about Moodle here. We're going to start at Moodle for Students. What if your class isn't showing? There's some information about that. This is only if your instructor happens to be using Lightbox Gallery. I have no idea how many instructors do, but also you can get information on assignments, quizzes, and grades for students. Some of this is similar to what we just saw on the previous page, but this gives you information like, oh, I have a Chromebook. How do I submit assignments from a Chromebook? How do I do it from G Suite? How do I check the status of my assignment? And how do I see grades? So lots of helpful information is just right here that you can find really easily. There are other things I wanted to show you here. Moodle for everyone. How you can change your preferred name in Moodle. Information about other things you can do, dashboard, lots of information. So that's all right there. So you can check that out too. If you have a Chromebook, how it works with Moodle. And then there are other tutorials here that I wanted to make sure you saw. So tutorials on using Zoom, creating a PDF, creating videos, and if any of your instructors are using these platforms, how to use those platforms. So I just wanted to let you know that all of that is there. So that's the two main things I wanted to make sure you noticed on the GCC links menu, but I also want to talk to you about the student support links. This seems pretty obvious, brings you to the student handbook, brings you to the Math Studio webpage. We're going to talk about that later. We're going to talk about peer tutoring later. This gets you to the student help desk, how to get your email on your smartphone so that you can check it every day, and then links to other departments or services that are helpful to have at your fingertips. And also this will bring you to MyGCC if you want. So that's all I wanted to show you in Moodle for now. So we're going to get back to our presentation. I have to find where we left off. Just need to find the purple. This is about where we left off. So let's go there. So talked about the Moodle Users Classroom, Moodle for Students, and then the student support services, support links, talked about those.